Welcome to the sixth episode of Proactive Aging, previously known as Longevity Lounge by Saya. In this podcast, we aim to discuss various topics around helping Indians age independently and extend their health span. At Saya, we have structured health programs following a PPR approach: preventive, proactive, and reactive. Today, we have with us Bijay Anand, who is an expert yogi, actor, an art collector, and much more than that. So, join me in unpacking his journey and speaking about a lot of interesting topics. Thank you so much for joining us.
Satam, thank you for having me, Akal.
So, you've worn many hats: yogi, actor, you're into art, and you've done a bunch of other things as well. But one thing you're really passionate about, based on our previous interactions, is Ayurveda and the power of traditional wisdom to heal issues that typically we rely on conventional healthcare for. What was that turning point where your belief in Ayurveda became really strong?
At the age of 36, I was diagnosed with arthritis. And I was making a lot of money at that time. So it doesn't matter. I went to India's top orthopedic surgeon, had an appointment, sat down, looked at my blood tests and blood reports. And he said, now you have to take this medication. I said, for how long now? I've always had a mistrust and, let's say, aversion for allopathy. Like I've always said, if you are in a car accident and you break something, you have no option. Then you go to the hospital. But I've never taken medication. I've never even taken a Crocin for a headache or a fever. So when he said you have to take this medication, I said, oh, my first question was, for how long? He said, you have to take this for the rest of your life now. I said, but will it cure it? He said, no. I said, but can you talk in English and explain to me what this means? He said, what this means is that now, for the rest of your life, you cannot do yoga, which I love doing. You cannot run. You cannot play tennis. I started laughing. I said, I'll do all of this and I'll show you. So then began my entire search and quest to find answers within traditional Indian medicines and, alternative therapy, basically. And that's where I discovered the magic of Panchakarma as far as Ayurveda is concerned. Like how deeply and profoundly it heals you. I checked in for 30 days at the AVP, which is the Ayurvedic pharmacy in Coimbatore. And that was the beginning of my healing process. And then with that Panchakarma, when you combine the understanding that arthritis is a disease which is autoimmune, which happens because of an aggravated vata. Now, when you understand the three doshas, kapha, vata, and pitta, and you say, okay, I'm suffering from a vata dosha. When you understand that, then what happens is that you start living your life according to the rules and principles of a vata dosha person. I stopped eating my beloved rajma, bengan bharta, all the raw salads. I've just understood the whole system so well. And that research is ongoing. Like it's been now almost 19 years. And even today, I'm always listening to podcasts. I recently discovered a wonderful doctor called Vasant Lad. Very recently. And I'm listening to him all the time now, you know. So I'm not an Ayurveda doctor. But in fact, this morning itself, I was at Rotary and I was giving a lecture on Ayurveda. And I talk about Ayurveda in China, in Russia, in Europe, wherever I'm traveling, wherever I'm invited to speak. Because I always say I'm not a doctor, but I have been a patient. And because it has healed me, I understand the real power of it. I'm not telling you do it, do that, because first of all, I don't have any ulterior motive. I'm not selling anything. So on top of that, not only arthritis, but I also had eczema. Even that, the best skin specialist in India said, not curable. Eczema is something you have to live with. We can control it with steroids. I have zero eczema now. In fact, even the earlier eczema that I had, even the scars have gone.
Wow.
So the thing is that it's a system that works and it works across ages. When you're born, whether you're 1 year old, 5, 20, 30, 40, at every age you need that wisdom of Ayurveda, which is more than 5,000 years old. Now, today, allopathy will tell you eggs are bad for you. Fine. So people stop eating eggs. After 3 years, they say, oh, no. Eggs are good for you. Only the yolk is bad for you. Okay, then people stop eating the yolk. Then they say, oh, Oh, no, actually, the yolk has the maximum nutrition. Have both. So this is bullshit going on. Like, what do you do? Now, these doctors are doing this research, this paper, that paper. At the end of the day, it's all humbug. Ayurveda is very clear. This works. This doesn't. You follow these rules. You live up to 110. You don't need a wheelchair. You're perfectly fine, and you go when you gotta go.
That's very profound. Yes. You mentioned something about the doshas, right?
Yeah.
So recently, Meera Kapoor has opened this center in Bandra called Dhun Wellness. And people were stunned by the extravagant prices for a week-long dosha balancing program that cost about 1.5 to 1.75 lakhs. So first of all, can you explain what the three doshas are to a layperson and what someone who probably can't afford a program like that, what can they do in their own residences to ensure that their doshas are in balance?
So let me start with the pricing for Meera's Wellness Center. Okay. Uh, I was in the Parmat Niketan ashram and I was there for like 45 days. In the next room was Amanda Gould, who's Peter Gould's wife. At that time, when I was there about 14 years ago, Peter Gould was worth $8 billion. Next to her, I can't name her, is a very senior politician in India with a young wife. Uh, Her brother is the CM of a particular state, even today. Now, why I'm telling you this is the room at that ashram is 500 rupees a night. Uh, it's affordable. It's very nice. 500 rupees. But the walls are leaking. The bed sheet may or may not be clean, or the food is what it is. And when I was there, one thing struck me was that why does health, wellness, and spirituality have to be so cheap? And why do you have to suffer to be spiritual? Why, if I can afford it, let's say I can afford 20,000 a night, I can afford 50,000 a night, I can afford 1 lakh rupees a night. Then why do I have to stay at 500 rupees a night? Why are there no options for health, wellness, Ayurveda, spirituality, detoxification, which are for people who are wealthy? Because you see, the thing is, wealthy people have earned a certain level through their hard work, through their intelligence, a certain level of comfort. They do travel first class. They may have their own private jet. So why go and meditate in a 500 rupee ashram? So that's why I started Anahata retreats. And we do wellness programs, we do, wellness retreats where we take people out, but we take them to expensive places, not too expensive, but affordably expensive places. And the concept was the same, that I wanted to give people a platform where they would feel safe, they would feel secure, they would be with like minded people. So I don't find anything wrong, coming back to your question, with Meera Kapoor pricing it at 2 lakhs. She could price it at 20 lakh. If somebody can afford it, they will go there and pay for it.
Yeah.
If she's giving you that quality, if she's giving you the structure, a really good team to look after you, why not? And there are enough people who can afford it. Believe me, there are more than enough people who can afford it.
No, so our question was for those who can't afford it. What can they do? What are the doshas first, and what can they do to balance that in their own residence, in their own homes, in
See,
their small ways?
you have always got to understand one thing. There are three doshas. One is the vata, one is kapha, one is pitta. Now, like I said, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to go into detailed explanation of it. But because I was vata, I know a lot about vata. Okay, so the air element is very high. So you get bloated, for example. If you have salad immediately after, within 1 or 2 hours, you feel bloated. When you're having something like a rajma, uh, kidney beans, or you have bengan bharta, you feel bloated. So now that bloated is not limited to just being bloated, feeling bloated. That vat, that gas goes into the joints. It goes into it just wreaks havoc on your system. Similarly, if you have pitta, if your dosha is an aggravated pitta, then you get acidity. You get a lot of acidity. You get so the symptoms are very clear. The problems are also very clear. And then once you understand this is the symptom, this is the problem, then if you are educated or you educate yourselves a little bit in Ayurveda, you understand how to solve it. Okay, so kapha, vata, and pitta, these are the three doshas. It's really easy to find out. Go to any Ayurveda doctor; he'll tell you what your dosha is. Okay, not complicated at all.
What are some of the things that have worked for you that have kept your doshas in balance over the last few years?
First of all, anybody who's more than 40 years of age watching this should understand that after 40, once you step into an age which is beyond 40, you get into the vata dosha period of your life. Okay. When you're born, up to the time you're a teenager, you're in the kapha dosha period. Yeah. All the problems related to a kapha dosha, like getting cold, falling sick, all of the, but you're growing. That is the kapha makes you like big. It helps you to grow fast and healthy and all of that. Once you step into the teen, you come into the pitta dosha. You get angry very fast. You get acidity. You get pimples. You break out with pimples and acne and all of those kind of things. Those are the diseases related to pitta dosha. But once you cross 40, you're getting into vata dosha, which means now you're going to have problems related to vata, which are memory issues, joints, like I had arthritis, eczema, psoriasis, um, all of those health problems related to vata. So now to answer your question, how do you take care of it? Really simple. Ayurveda has something called the Dinacharya as to how you're supposed to conduct your life early in the morning, late in the morning, afternoon, evening, night. And if you follow this very simple, very easy to follow program of what you're supposed to do, you cannot be sick ever. It's not possible. And even when you cross 40, you can be 60, 80 or 90 and you will have proper joints, no creaking muscles, you will be fit and you'll be healthy. The problem I have is that anywhere in the world, I travel a lot, I've been to 83 countries. Whenever I look at wheelchairs, most of the wheelchairs have Indians in it. No other nationality in the world has as many participants of wheelchairs and Indians have. Why? The least, by the way, are the Chinese. We'll never see a Chinese on a wheelchair. Even at the age of 100, they'll be walking. Ding, 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 ding. You understand? So, you wake up at a particular time, as per your dosha, or even that is prescribed. You do that, you wake up, you do oil pulling, you it's like a full set of routine. I do abhyanga. When you take oil, sesame oil, you give a massage to your whole body. Now, what that does is magical. You think it's only lubricating the joint. That's a very simple answer. Everything, oh, the muscles get relaxed, the joints get lubricated. No, it's not only that. Sesame oil has the property of going into your pores, loosening your toxins, and then bringing it up. So that when you have a shower, and then when after the shower, when you take, even the towel, people have these soft towels, like big ones, really nice feeling, soft feeling to the touch. For the last 25 years, I've used the South Indian towel. It costs 40 or 50 rupees. uh, and it's a slightly rough, which means when I'm drying myself, it's exfoliating my skin. So now all the toxins which have come up because of my sesame oil, they all come out. What I eat after that throughout the day, I have a lot of ghee. People ask me, how come your skin shines so much? How come you don't have any wrinkles? You're 55 years old. Because of ghee. And then an allopathy doctor, or these so-called researchers from Harvard and Yale and all of that, they say, "Oh, ghee is fat. It gives you high cholesterol." Bullshit. You know, I have shots of ghee. Sometimes when I'm feeling dry inside, I take a shot, like how you have a tequila or a whiskey. I just do a shot of ghee, and that's how much ghee I have. Where is my cholesterol? No, I don't have cholesterol. So after the age of 40, your best friend has to be ghee, sesame oil, coconut oil, castor oil. You take castor oil, you put it on your belly button. You put it on your belly button in the night before sleeping. You take castor oil and then you mix it with a little bit of coconut oil because castor oil is really thick. You mix it with coconut oil and you put it on your face. It's the cheapest Botox you can find in the market. You never need to do Botox. So, like I said, it's Agyanata has no cure. Being stupid has no cure. I was stupid, so I understand stupidity really well. I used to have alcohol, I used to smoke 2 packets of cigarettes a day, sometimes even 3 packets of cigarettes a day. So there's a disease called affluenza. I mean, people who are extremely affluent, they suffer from this disease when they allow the affluence to buy them so many comforts. The air conditioner, there's a hot water to have a shower with all the time, the car, not walking enough, not it's all of those diseases which are related to lifestyle, gives them diabetes, gives them thyroid, gives them cancer, gives them PCOD. And they say, why did I fall sick? You felt sick because today in the morning I was giving a lecture and there were some 100 people in the class. And I said, anyone who sits in the sun for half an hour a day, please put your hand up.
I don't think too many would have gone up, right?
Not even one. You understand? Now, if you don't sit in the sun for half an hour every day, you're going to be sick. It's a rule. So then if you fall sick because you not had time, you had time to watch Netflix. You're watching The White Lotus, you're watching all those murder mysteries, you're binge watching, nonsense. For that you have time. But you have no time to sit in the sun. Tomorrow, then don't complain. I'm only saying that if this is the case, like my daughter loves to put lipstick. She's only 17 years old. So I tell her it's poison. Right. You're putting lipstick, it's made of chemical. I say use it once a month or twice a month. When you're going to a really important place, use it, no problem. No, you don't understand. Young girls need it. Okay, put it. Now, I only told her one thing. When you fall sick, when you have problems with your health and reproductive issues, and don't come to me. I feel sorry for you, but I won't feel sorry for you. So if you're not sitting in the sun, you're not, doing a Dinacharya right, you're not sleeping on time, you're not waking up on time, you're not having a lunch, breakfast, dinner, any of those things on time. You're eating garbage, you're having a lot of coffee, you're having alcohol, you're smoking. Don't complain to God that when you get cancer. Don't say, why are you being unfair to me? You did this to yourself. You see, there are two crimes in this world. Two sins, not even crime. If you believe in religion, there are two sins as far as I'm concerned. The biggest one is when you hurt someone, bad karma. The biggest sin. No bigger sin than that. You get somebody's curse, you become best friend with God, he cannot save you. Even God cannot save you. When you are cursed, you're gone, you're doomed. The second biggest sin is ignoring our body, ignoring our health, eating garbage, abusing a body. No bigger sin than that. And then there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So why do you want to commit the sin? My grandfather loved cars. Okay. He would afford a 10,000 rupee Fiat, but he loved that Fiat. And he used to look at me and he used to tell me, look after your car and your car will look after you. Same thing for the body. Look after your body and your body will look after you. My best friend, I would tell him to work out. I said, you have a swimming pool in the building. You have such a beautiful gym in the building. I don't have time. I have to get to the factory at 7 o'clock. I have to do this. I have to make my business to 5,000 crores in 2 years. I have to. Now he's got ankylosing spondylitis. Every day for 1.5 hours he has to do physio. What happened to your being busy? You hold your nose like this or you hold your nose like that. You have to hold your nose. In the Japanese culture, they have a philosophy called Kensho and Keisho. Now, Keisho is when someone tells you something and you understand it. And you have a ha-ha moment, you have eureka, now you start doing it. No problem. Kensho, on the other hand, is when you know you should do something, you don't do it and then you get slapped. You get jabbed. Then you have to do it. So you have the choice. You want to learn the Keisho way or you learn the Kensho way. Learn, you'll have to. Not optional.
No, 100%. At Saya, we are a health management system for people over the age of 50 because unlike you, a lot of other people over the age of 50 haven't taken great care of themselves and sometimes they need a little hand holding to do so. And we combine our health manager with a couple of other domain experts and we have programs in fitness, nutrition, cognitive health, mental well-being, and we have an in-house doctor who coordinates all of this led by a health coach. That said, where can, as a thought exercise, how can our system that we are not generally, we are much more geared towards lifestyle modifications, medications only when absolutely necessary, that is suggested by the doctor, not even prescribed by the doctor. How does a system like ours incorporate Ayurveda and traditional wisdom to create something more holistic for the Indian body type? For Indians over the age of 50, where 33% of Indians over the age of 50 have diabetes, hypertension, obesity, hormonal imbalance, thyroid, that's all running rampant in Indian elders. How can we combine, proactive healthcare the way we are doing it, and with nutrition, fitness, cognitive health, mental well-being, and traditional wisdom in Ayurveda? How can we combine both to form something that aligns well for our Indians to age independently?
I would go one step before Ayurveda. And I'll tell you why. It's impossible for somebody who doesn't love himself or herself to look after themselves. It's impossible. Only when you love yourself will you make the effort to do something good for yourself. Normally, when you have some kind of trauma, pain, anger, sorrow, grief, anything which is stored in your first three chakras, which is really negative, until somebody releases that and the healing happens, no matter what you do with all your great intentions and your expertise, even if they did it, it wouldn't benefit them. So I'm saying that the first step in rehabilitating somebody's life, and I do a lot of healing sessions across the world, is beyond medicine, looking at it holistically and seeing the healing that needs to be done. Which is why I teach Kundalini Yoga, because it healed me. And I'm seeing how much healing it causes amongst other people, right? So when you do something like Kundalini Yoga, you can do whatever else you want. But you heal the soul. You can do Vipassana. You can just meditate yourself at home, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening, and combine that with pranayama. It's extremely healing. So once you walk the path of self-healing, understand the meaning of self-love, everything else that you know of and you do will benefit them 100 times faster. I'm not even exaggerating. And people have some people have some really stupid problems. Like, particularly in India, like I have these people coming up to me and crying, and I say, what happened? Saying, "Jo na papa ne mara bhai ne pidida, like my father gave my brother this and that, and he didn't give me anything." Now that's the problem for now. They have IBS, they have, all kinds of emotional diabetes, because diabetes is also an emotional issue. So now until this shit is sorted out, what is going on in her mind, there's no way she's ever going to be healthy. You have to understand that, very clear. So somewhere our health practitioners, our psychologists, they all need to understand that you have to go to the root of the problem. Otherwise, nothing is going to work for sure. I know this. And when you go to the root of the problem and find out the emotion that is causing the disease, and you cure that emotion, then you attack the disease. And then the disease just flies away, literally flies away. And you live a really healthy and beautiful and happy, blissed out life. That's the system.
Talk about yourself at the point when you found Kundalini Yoga, so just before when you found yoga. What were you like as a person before you discovered it and after you started practicing it?
I was born extremely poor. We had no money to eat sometimes bread in the house. And I started working at the age of 14. I used to sell soap in local trains of Mumbai. The soap used to cost 1 rupee, by the way. That's what I used to do. And then when I started making money, I started making a lot of money. I started making more money. And then somewhere I went a bit mad. I lost connection with reality. And I would smoke, I would drink every day, I would, gamble 5 days a week. All that was going on. And then 2008 happened. The banks collapsed, the whole world economy collapsed. And I lost 80% of my net worth. All the money I had made my whole life, I lost. And I didn't get too depressed about it or emotional about it. I just looked at it very objectively and said, okay, I'll make it again. But I was also asking one question. What it is that I can own that nobody can take away from me is mine. My money went, no? So what it is that I can own that nobody can take away from me? You know what the answer was? Bliss, inner peace, joy, equilibrium, equanimity. That's mine. You can't take it away. Nobody can take it. So because I knew that answer, because I found the answer, I started searching. See, the problem is, if you leave your house now and you go out, if you don't know whether you want to go to Delhi or Chennai or Calcutta, where are you going to go? You're going to be like a headless chicken. You're going to be all directions. Sometimes you go walking this way, one day you're walking that way. So then you're doing yoga, you go to the gym, you're doing Pilates, but you're like a headless chicken. You have no clue what to do. Once you know the direction, whatever the direction might be, it might be Zanzibar, it could be Timbuktu. If you know that you want to go there, you will reach there. So that's the whole thing. It's all about finding direction and then walking towards it, finding it. And when I knew that my direction, my journey should lead me to bliss, peace, and joy. Once I knew that, I started traveling. Went to Thailand to do, a yoga festival. I did over there. I did one in Rishikesh. I did one in Prague. I did one in Bali. And in one of them, I discovered Kundalini Yoga. And my first session, the first class for 2 hours that I did, I just cried for the entire 2 hours. But when I got up, I felt like I had lost 4 kilos. I felt so light and I felt like a lion. I felt like this really powerful force, and I knew that nobody and nothing could beat me. And then it was like a drug. I wanted to be living with that power. So then I did a 45-day course. I did it for 45 days. I used to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Throughout the day, we used to do kriya, meditation, mantras, mudra, all of that. For 45 days. When I came back to Mumbai, my best friends couldn't recognize me. My face had changed. So it's powerful. It's something which is magical. And I discovered it because I lost so much money that I said, I have to find the answer as to what life is really all about. Life is not about wealth. It's not about fame. I've seen both. I've been an actor. There used to be traffic jams when my movie Yash was released. If I was walking on the street, there would be a traffic jam because of me. I've seen that kind of adulation, that kind of fame, that kind of love. Luckily for me, I was able to keep my head on my shoulder. I never got carried away with it. My feet were always on the ground. I never started flying. I guess I'm blessed. What else can I say?
Yeah, fair enough. And you've spoken to me about yogis living 100+ years very easily that are probably undocumented. Right? We talk about now we know this entire concept of don't die longevity due to Brian Johnson trying these multiple experiments, etc. And probably doing it from a more research based scientific lens. But the yogis have been doing it for centuries now, and they've been very, very, their practices have gone undocumented. What is the secret for those yogis to live that long?
Prana, pranayam, and meditation. When you are doing pranayam, you are not detoxifying your stomach or your body. You're, you're detoxifying your nadis. You're talking about 100+. There are yogis living even today who are 200+. And the reason how we know this is because B.K. Iyengar himself said that and there were people who had gone with him. My teacher went with B.K. Iyengar to some remote part of the Himalayas, where they met somebody who was documented at that time to be more than 140 years old. And she's told me that when they met this guy, he was wearing, just like one dhoti. He was bare chested. It was beautiful flowing, white beard. His skin was glowing and shining, and he looked perfectly healthy. And all he did was meditate. He said, "What do you eat?" I said, "Nothing." So he was with them for 3 days. She saw him eat one apple in 3 days. So it's prana. You have to understand the concept of pranayama, which is why on the 8th of this month, I'm doing a workshop on my Instagram where I'm doing this detailed explanation as to how to take the maximum juice out of doing your kriyas, which is, kapalbhati, mastrika, and then the pranayam, the anulom vilom and all. So I'm just giving the very detailed explanation and then how to graduate into meditation after that. Because when you meditate after pranayam, the effect is like 10 times better.
Yeah.
So it's a combination. When you do the full set, you just really somewhere find your connection not only with yourself, but with divinity as well.
You're absolutely right. I think this breath work followed by meditation made a lot of sense. I last I think, yeah, it was last year where I found myself in a very confused place in life. I didn't know where I was heading. Again, as you said, like a headless chicken, right? Sure, everything on paper looks fine, but you don't really know what direction is there for your life if you have to. And that, and multiple other things took over, and I decided to sign on for the Art of Living Happiness program. And I went and they made me do the Sudarshan Kriya and, of which there's the Ujjayi Pranayam, Bhastika, then there's the Kriya itself. And they made me do the long form Kriya, which is being guided by the instructor, and you're alternating your breath work. And then, it's very jarring. In the beginning, I started getting a headache. I felt like, I was going to throw up, and I felt multiple sensations, but I kept going. Somehow my willpower just kept me going. And then they make you lie down to relax. And I was lying down, and I suddenly started laughing. I started laughing. I started laughing. I started crying. My hands started moving. And then I just wanted to get up and just go and run. I felt so active after that, and I felt so relieved. So I'm sure there is some power to this. And there's definitely some meaning in. I think anyone who's not discovered in their life in some or the other form should experience mindfulness of a deeper kind, not just maybe, of, I mean, it's 10-minute Om chanting is also great in a day if that's what you can do. But something much deeper is, I think, a great recipe for a good life. That is my take.
Yeah, but you have to know one thing, Karan, that just as in the school, you have different standards. You have the first standard, second standard, third.
Yeah.
In life, in this world, there are 7 standards of existence. Now, you might be on the 7th standard, which means you're, really evolved soul, what they call old soul. You come multiple times, you've learned and you worked your way up, but you could be also on the first standard or second standard, third standard. Now, for a lot of people at that standard, they have yet to experience the taste, the amrit of wisdom, knowledge, gyan, you know. So they are lost in that whole maya, the matrix. It's not easy for them to understand what you and me are right now talking about. So it's not for everyone. It's like caviar. You have to have that taste for it and you have to understand what you're doing. So a lot of people don't understand. But for you now, look at your age. At your age, you have taken out the time, the effort,
But unfortunately, I was not
do.
very consistent with it.
No, but you are already there. You already have that hunger to taste that. 90% people of your age wouldn't even give a shit about it. You did it. The same thing happened to me when I was 14. I paid my money, which I earned selling soap in local drains. With that money, I paid for a course called the Siddha Samadhi Yoga. I was the youngest person in the class in the history of Siddha Samadhi Yoga. Nobody at the age of 14 had ever been there. I was seeking at that time. The first book that I ever had in my hand was called the Dhammapada. So you're just blessed to have worked your way up. And then at some point you realize it's your duty that whatever you learned in the first, 6 standards of your life, you have to share it with people. And that's what I do.
That's very encouraging. And I think through your Instagram and through a lot of other mediums where you do impart your knowledge, I think it's very wise for anyone who's watching this to, go on, sign on for sure. And they learn a lot out of it. One last question that I have is, a lot of people struggle with addictive behaviors, um, addiction to smoking, alcohol, porn, marijuana, meaningless sex, and multiple others. What has your experience been in arriving at the root cause of any addiction that you might have had and killing that addiction?
Mostly it's weakness. So somebody who's extremely weak as far as the soul is concerned, like I said, there's a lion soul, and then the soul which are not that powerful. So when your soul, the structure of your soul is weak, let me put it another way. If your immune system is weak, you have 1 cube of ice, you'll catch a cold. Again, because your immunity is weak. Similarly, if your soul is weak, any external influence, you're watching porn, you get addicted to it. You take a drag of cigarette, you get addicted to it. You take a sniff of cocaine, you get addicted to it. So it's the weakness of the soul. And until you decide to become strong. Now, your muscles are not strong. You go to the gym, they become strong. I don't know.
Hmm.
So, if you realize I'm weak, I need to make strong muscles, you go to the gym. Now, if your soul is weak, problem is people go to the temple. That's not where the answer is. The answer is to go within. There are three kinds of temples in a human being life. One is the temple where you go and pray. For me, that's the third temple. The second one is your family and the ones who you love and who love you. That's an even more important temple. You have to look after that temple. You have to really devote your energy and, take care of that temple. And the most important one is your body. So when you have taken care of this temple and you have respected it, nourished it with good food, with good sunlight, with good, you go into nature and spend time in nature, your aura becomes strong, your soul becomes strong. That's when addiction can't come to you. Nothing can come to you. Even if somebody comes in front of you with a gun, they can't shoot you because you have the power in your aura, in your character. And it genuinely happened to me. You see, I'm an environmental activist. So I can give you many examples, but one particular time, there's somebody was burning something on a very regular basis and was causing a lot of smoke in my area. And when I went there, literally like 35 people came out to beat me up. But then they didn't because of the way I looked at them, the way I said something. I don't even remember what I said. But that's what happens to you. When the terrorist attacks happened in Taj, I was there with my wife. It's been how much? More than 15 years? Even today, the entire staff of Taj will tell you that I was the most calm person in the entire property that night. I got 45 people out with me when we came out in the morning. I was responsible for getting them out because I was calm. You see, when your aura becomes strong, you understand the meaning of having the aura of a lion, and your magnetic field becomes such that you attract good things, good people, success, prosperity, good health, and you're able to repulse negativity, idiots, wild people, pugnacious people. You're able to repulse all of them. You find that space where you should be, where you belong. So that's what I tell people. If you are addicted to something, it's because of a weakness. You want to get out of it. Don't attack the cigarettes. Don't attack the porn. Don't attack the source of the weakness. Why are you weak? Become strong. That's why I say, I know Kundalini Yoga. You know something else, do it. But do it. Otherwise, it's not going anywhere. You have to suffer and then you will die.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Would love to speak to you again. I think there's an ocean of wisdom that I still have to unpack from you, but we are running out of time. So would love to do another session, another round with you. And thank you so much for taking the time out today.
My pleasure to be here with you and good luck for all your endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Sadnam.